Very good afternoon to all the viewers. Dear viewers, it's my privilege and pleasure to welcome you to the 26th webinar of Faculty of Homeopathy, Parul University. In this second wave of the pandemic, adversity should make you better and not be bitter. Keeping this at heart, we at Parul University have started the e-learning mode of conducting regular online classes, exams, motivation of our President, Dr. Devanshu sir, the Director of Ayush Colleges, Dr. Komal Patel ma'am, who are always there to support us, as well as the vigilant effort of the core team of we four principals of the Constituent College of Parul University. Dr. Purav Desai, the Dean of Homeopathic Faculty and the Principal of Jawaharlal Nehru Homeopathic Medical College, Dr. B.P. Panda sir, the Principal of Parul Institute of Homeopathy and Research, Dr. Hitarth Mehta sir, the Principal of Rajkot Homeopathic Medical College, and myself, Dr. Hina Rawal, Principal of Ahmedabad Homeopathic Medical College. And of course, our viewers who are always more than 1,000 to motivate us. This initiative connects the brilliant presenters of homeopathy to the young budding homeopaths. But it is only possible due to the immense support of eminent teachers like Dr. Sharma, who, in spite of many responsibilities, readily joins for sharing their vast knowledge for the betterment of homeopathy fraternity. Now I invite Dr. Panda sir, the principal of Parul Institute of Homeopathy and Research and the member of Board of Studies, Faculty of Homeopathy, to introduce our today's eminent speaker. Please, Dr. Panda sir.
Thank you, Hina madam, for inviting me to introduce our speaker, Dr. Rajneesh Sharma. Dr. Rajneesh Sharma, I am well known to him. He is one of the best friends. We have worked in a institution for a certain periods. Professor Sharma is a professor in pathology, but he has having vast knowledge in the three triad of homeopathy, that is Matremedica, Repertory and Organon. The topic in which he is going to explain today, that is homeopathic Matremedica in light of modern concept. Dr. Sharma has completed his graduation from Nagpur University in 1995 and he completed his post-graduation in Repertory from Aurangabad University in 2006. Professor Sharma started his service as a professor the Ganganagar HNC Hospital and Research Institute, Ganganagar. Then again he worked at Solan Homeopathic Medical College Hospital, Kumarhati, Solan. Then he became the principal of Kamdar Homeopathic Medical College and Research Center, Rajkot. After that, now he is working as a principal in Dayal Education Institute Trust in Faculty of Integrated Medicine. He has having 24 years experience, and more than that, the professional experience. He is a good clinician and he has cured critical cases. What he has explained to the students, even I have seen so many cases he has treated there at Rajkot when I was there at Rajkot and working with him. Dr. Sharma has been appointed as examiner in reputed university like Nagpur University, Humayun University, more than 10 university, and attended training program and delivered lecture in so many teachers orientation training program also. Dr. Sharma is practicing there at Agra. He is a practitioner of ethical practice of homeopathy. He is practicing clinical homeopathy with single dose and a fond of Hahnemannian homeopathy. Dr. Sharma has written so many articles which has been published in different reputed magazines as well as in journals. He is a member of Board of Study of Tantia University, then Himachal Pradesh University, Shimla, and today we are very grateful and Dr. Sharma will present a nice topic which will be useful not only for UG but for PG as well as our faculty members. I hope this session will be one of the best session and we people will be benefited, and I would like to request Dr. Sharma sir to present his presentation and give his vast knowledge of 24 years practice to our listener. Thank you very much, Sharma sir.
Thank you, Panda sir. Now, as we know that Panda sir has told a lot of things, and homeopathy itself is a very wide field, and we have a different type of practice in the homeopathy. As per the Matrimedica is concerned, we are having different type of approach. We have seen that somewhere somebody is doing practice on the ground of mind, somebody doing on the practice generalities like the Boning Hussain, and different ways. And the surprising thing is that every person is successful. But there is one common thing. Though the homeopathy is a versatile science, though the homeopathy having a very wide range of use of this medicine, even then there are certain philosophical background which a person has to follow. Whatever the mode of selection, but fundamental concept of the homeopathy, voluntarily or involuntarily, are used in the practice, whether you are doing a clinical practice or you are doing a practice based on the mental ground or on the generalities. Now, there are certain things. It is very common question asked by the student whether the modern subjects are essential. We say yes. And we strongly support that without the modern subject, at least homeopathy cannot be studied, or homeopathy cannot be practiced, both. Not studied, not practiced. We can say without the knowledge of modern subject, even the Matrimedica cannot be understood properly. And we will give a few examples within this limited time. We will give a few examples. But before that, I want to say that any method is not used everywhere. Means whether the mental symptom practice cannot be applied in every case, the practice of generalities cannot be applied everywhere. Therefore, we say that homeopathy is a versatile science and art. Every person perceive it differently. It is not mandatory that one should follow others, but during practice, the use of homeopathic philosophy cannot be exempted. Means that is the fact. Whatever the mode of practice, we cannot exempt the homeopathic philosophy or homeopathic concept on which the prescription is made. Now, regarding the modern subject, we should begin with a few tips. Modern medical concept and Matrimedica. Now, we all know that the Matrimedica is practiced, or the clinic is based on the differentiation between common and uncommon. And surprisingly, we know that common symptom cannot be found out without the study of practice of medicine, without the study of surgery, without the study of pathology, without the study of gynecology. And for that study, we have to go through the anatomy and physiology. So these are the few things. Second one is the potency selection. We know every time we refer the Kent, that Kent has decided in his observation that incurable cases should be given so and so doses, curable cases given so and so doses, and lower doses in pathological cases. So how will you find out the pathological conditions without the study of modern subject? So how the potency will be selected, how the mode of treatment will be selected, whether the treatment of curative or palliative should be given. If a palliative treatment is given, so what should be the criteria of palliative treatment? Means if the patient is in the incurable condition, then we have to palliate. And how it will be decided? It will be decided only and only with the concept of modern medicine, not with the help of only the hypothesis. Because modern medicine or modern concept having certain valuations, having certain parameters on which we decide the curative or palliative condition, curative or incurative condition, and accordingly the modern concept helped too much in the practice of Matre Medica. Second thing, if we are having the support of modern concept, then we have a quick reference of group of remedy, no doubt, and we will give a few examples in subsequent discussion. That quick reference is very easily achieved with the concept of modern theories and the reference of homeopathic Matre Medica. No, now we will should start with the examples. Now, for example, the calcium, a simple substance, a most common substance, a most useful substance, or most easily available or deficient or excess in the body, the calcium means. And you will surprise that calcium having the action over the muscle physiology, calcium having the requirement for the function of actin and myosin filament in the muscle physiology. Calcium is one of the clotting factor for the coagulation of blood. Calcium is the most essential part for the ossification, or in other way, additionally, we can say that calcium is essential for the restriction of the growth. If the ossification of bone will not take place, a continuous growth of the long bone will take place. So we can say the ossification is not only essential for the strength of the body, but it is also essential for the restriction of the growth of the person. Second thing, the transmission of the nervous impulses. You know that neurotransmitter are assisted by the calcium ions for the transmission of nerve impulses. So this is the calcium, which is the very common element, which is a very common ion, which is present in our body and having a wide range of the utility in our body. Now see, this is the modern concept that calcium we have. Now these things cannot be separated. Remember one thing, that the modern concept and homeopathy is not 100% hypothetical, it is a science. So science having certain factors, and on these factors we will say that how these are inseparable. The calcium utility in the modern concept and calcium utility in homeopathy, how these are inseparable, we will see. Now you see, imbalance of the calcium will cause, number one, hypercontractility or relaxation of the muscles, as we see in the calcarea calf or calcarea. In the calcarea calf, if you will see that the person having the flabbiness means relaxation of the muscles, means muscles do not have a sufficient tone, means for the actin and myosin filaments somewhere are facing a trouble. Therefore, the calcium imbalance will cause the relaxation and flabbiness in the constitution of the calcarea patient, or sometimes the hypercontractility. We have seen so many patients, that patient having the cramps in the muscles at night, in the calf muscles or in the muscles of hand or in the back. So sometime we will see that if we assess properly, then we find that patient having the deficiency of calcium, or calcium replacement therapy immediately causes the relief in the contractility or such type of tetanic conditions of the muscles. That is called a tetany. Tetany is easily treated by the calcium supplements. Now, if we having the deficiency of the calcium or imbalance of the calcium, our coagulation disorder is found in the patient. So complete calcarea group in the homeopathic medicine having the hemorrhagic conditions. You see that whether it is a calcarea phos or it is a calcarea calf or it is any other drug which is having a coagulation disorder, which is having the easily hemorrhagic disorder, means there is the delay coagulation, there is the difficult coagulation. So we have the improper, or we can say the imbalance of calcium in our body. And delay ossification, means delay ossification, we see that somewhere open fontanelles are for longer time. We say that the fontanelles are open. We always tell the student that calcarea calf having the open fontanelles and these are not ossified in proper time. But why? Because the calcium assimilation, because the calcification, because the calcium metabolism is defective. So there is the open fontanelles, or we can say how the patient of the calcarea calf is very long in comparison of normal persons, because ossification of long bones is not proper. And if the ossification is delayed, if the long bones are not ossified in the proper time, then the growth will continue. Therefore, the patient of calcarea calf having the general weakness of bones and calcarea calf patient having the elongation of bones, that causes the abnormal growth of the persons. And on different way, when the patient having the imbalance means the excessive calcification or excessive calcium in the body, that is the major cause. If you are having the deficiency or immovability of the calcium towards the bone, means the storehouse of the calcium, then calcium will come down into the serum. That is the condition where we will find that stone formation is very common in the calcarea group or calcarea group of the patient. Now, mental disorder, we have discussed that calcium in the modern concept having a good ion, which is help in the neurotransmitter or impulse transmissions. Therefore, if the calcium deficiency or calcium imbalance is found, definitely patient will suffer from certain mental disorders like the confusion, hallucination, or depression. Means the calcarea patient also having the, why we say that calcarea patient having the late learning to talk. Late learning to talk means it is a mental disorder. Somewhere patient unable to perceive, somewhere patient unable to judge, somewhere patient unable to take the decision or impulses are improper. Means that is the condition how the calcium is essential. Now we see that these are the situations how the calcium is useful. Now the numbness, as we say that the impulses are transmitted and it plays a role, means the numbness is one of the disorder which is found in the nervous condition because of the calcium imbalance. Now nail deformity, we nicely know that if there is the there is the calcium deficiency, then we will have the deformity of the nails also. That is a common thing. Now if we will go a calcarea group, now there is the development of constitution. Depending on this modern concept, we can say that in the mathematica we do not see all these things, because these things are found in the physiology, these things are found in the pathology, these things are found in the other clinical part of the study, where we found that how the calcium is how the calcium is deviating our physiological functions to the pathological functions, and how the constitution of the patient is developing. So now a key word of the calcarea group. Now one thing, because the calcium having the coagulation factors, therefore all the calcarea group having the hemorrhagic disorder. One thing. Second thing, in the olden days we found that in the summer season, even nowadays the persons are using the lime properly. The lime which are dissolved in the water, they put this lime on the temporal area, so that causes the coldness, and sometime you will have the running of nose because of the coldness of that coldness property of the lime. That is so cold, means the calcarea group having the susceptibility to cold to develop. Means calcium having the nature of cold, we can say, means extra growth, means the stone formation and flabbiness. That is the key word where the calcium was applicable in the body, and how this constitution of calcarea is developing. Now therefore now because of the hemorrhagic condition, therefore the patient having the hemorrhage from the teeth, patient having the hemorrhage from the nose, patient having the hemorrhagic condition of the pulse, patient having the hemorrhagic condition of menorrhagia or metrorrhagia, means because of the hemorrhagic diathesis of the calcarea cup, means susceptibility of cold. Again, means susceptibility of cold means what? Because the calcium itself having the cold nature, calcium itself having the we can say the property of lime of cold. Therefore patient also, because the imbalance of the calcium also causes the deviate the person for the susceptibility. Extra growth of the bones causes the elongation of the bones, causes the gigantism of the person. That is the condition where the calcarea group is used. Stone formation in kidney on gallbladder, we have seen the stone of various type. We will discuss in the subsequent discussion that stones have a various type, and according to various type of stone we will see the different type of medicine. And the flabbiness, again we say that flabbiness is because of the calcium deficiency, which is essential for the actin and myosin activity. And if these activities are not proper, means our muscles will not properly contract and it will lose the tone. Therefore if you will see in the calcarea group, what is the reason of constipation? We say that constipation always better for the calcarea carb, and the regular motion causes the abnormality. So why it is so? Because in the flabbiness muscles having the improper peristaltic condition, and these improper peristaltic conditions causes the retaining of the stool in the rectum or sigmoid colon. And if the stool is regularly part, it means according to the calcarea constitution there are the excessive peristaltic condition which is harmful for the patient. Therefore, if the stool is regular in the calcarea patient, it is abnormal or it is not favorable for the calcarea, because normal peristaltic movement will cause, according to the flabbiness, according to the improper muscular tone, will cause the constipation in the calcarea group of the patient. Now, that is regarding the calcarea. We will see now the natrum group. Like the calcarea, I have seen the if you will see the calcarea, similarly we are having the sodium group. Means natrum, complete natrum group is a compound of sodium, and you will know you knows that this natrum group or sodium is regulated by the kidney. Means kidney is the location from where the sodium concentration in our body is maintained. One thing. Second thing, it is essential for the electrolyte balance. Third thing, essential for transmembrane potential and muscle physiology, and for regulate the water balance in the body. Means it is, if you will see the sodium, or we can say the sodium, potassium, magnesium, all these metals are present in the first and second group of the periodic table. And in this first and second group of periodic table, if we will see, then we will find that these metals are hydrophilic in nature and alkaline in nature, because in the periodic table first four group having the alkaline nature, and second four group 5 to 8, these are having the acidic in nature. So whenever these natrum group, potassium group, or magnesia group are used, you will surprise that all these drugs which are present in these three group, which are basically from the first and second group of periodic table having the hydrophilic nature, these metals having or modified, we can say, or modified with the water in any form, either they will be aggravated or ameliorated by the dryness, means deficiency of water, or they will be aggravated or ameliorated because of the excessive of the water, means whether it is a calcium or potassium or magnesium. These three groups which are hydrophilic in nature are modified by water, either excess or deficiency, either aggravated or ameliorated. Similarly, now, if we see this thing, then we will find that whatever the area around the humidity, or whatever the causative factor of the disease is the humidity, like the Bombay, like the Madras, like the Calcutta, like the Kanyakumari, or these area, then in that population, these three groups are mostly useful. If you will find, and if you will do the survey of these areas, of the diseases of these areas which are modified by the water, then we will find that in the most of the persons, these medicine will be selected, because they are having the modality, they are having the modification with the water in any form. So these group are essential for that particular community. And in the natrum group, because it is having the sodium, we are discussing about the sodium. Now, imbalance of sodium. Now, if you will see that sodium having the regulated by the kidney, one thing. Second thing, it is useful for the transmembrane potential. One thing. Second thing, it is useful for the water balance. And third thing, it is again useful like the calcium ion for the transmembrane nerve impulses, or we can say the neurotransmission. And therefore, it is having a specific type of constitution, means cardiac arrhythmia, a mental disorder again, a water imbalance, a hemolytic condition, a renal disorder. Now, if you will see in the natrum group, complete natrum group, somewhere these systems, means if the patient having the imbalance between the sodium because of the kidney, then patient having the kidney, means natrum group having the involvement of the renal disorder, means somewhere patient having the nephrotic syndrome, or patient having the glomerulonephritis. And similarly, if there is the imbalance between the transmembrane potential or sodium potassium pump, then muscle physiology is disturbed. Therefore, any impairment in the calcium ion concentration causes the cardiac arrhythmia. So we are having the symptom in the both natrum more, natrum car, natrum cell, whatever the natrum group of the medicine, we are having the strong symptom of cardiac system in these group. Mental disorder, again the neurotransmitter are helped by the sodium ion, therefore we are having the mental disorder, and certain mental disorders are yet to be studied how they are generated. And now the water imbalance. Now this water imbalance because of the sodium causes the puffiness. So the natrum area or natrum group having the involvement of this water imbalance. If you will see in the natrum group, so natrum are also having the puffiness because of the retention, means as the sodium ion concentration, if the sodium ion concentration is less, then patient will have the dehydration. If the sodium ion concentration is more in the body, patient will have the puffiness or the edema, that is the water imbalance. In the hemolytic conditions, as you know, that sodium ion causes the water binding capacity or retention of water, so it causes the hemolytic condition by formation of hypertonic solution in the blood. If in the blood sodium ion concentration is more, then the water will move from RBC to the plasma, or if the sodium concentration is more inside the RBC, then water will move to the RBC and they will swell up and will disintegrate. Means the hemolytic condition again may be caused by the sodium imbalance. Now one more condition, that is the renal disorder, and some clinical condition related to Matremedica. Now if you will see that these are two examples of the sodium and potassium, whether it is a calcium or sodium or potassium. Now one more thing regarding these metals, means sodium, potassium, magnesium, these three metals which are hydrophilic in nature, which are alkaline in nature, most probably the skin disorders, because alkaline having the hydrophilic nature and ooze the water in the chemical reaction, therefore all the skin disorders also having the oozing condition or the discharge from the skin disorders, means cardiac arrhythmia. Natrum more, calcarea, both are having the hypertensive condition or hypotensive condition. Mental disorder, natrum carb, calcarea, both are having the mental disorder. Water imbalance, not in the calcarea but in the natrum, calcarea but not in the sodium because of the sodium. Hemolytic condition means there is no hemolytic condition in the calcium, but there is the hemorrhagic condition. In the natrum group, there is the hemolytic condition. Renal disorder, in the calcarea carb, because of the excessive calcium deposition, there is the stone formation, therefore the renal disorder are created. Here, because of the sodium imbalance, renal disorder or impairment of the nephrons are causes the nephrotic syndrome and other conditions. Means where the physiological part of these minerals are studied, means that gave a picture of drug also. Means if we are studying the sodium, potassium, minerals, I also said in the earlier or first slide that every philosophy is not applicable everywhere. Means these are the few perceptions which cannot be applicable in every medicine. Means whenever you are having such type of observations, we may do this thing. Now we will see and certain other thing, because we are discussing the Matremedica, so we will having a review of the Matremedica. So some clinical condition related to Matremedica. It is very surprising. You will see that our Matremedica, I told you that the Matremedica cannot be studied without the study of other subjects. So there are few examples and very interesting examples. If you will see, the inflammation are very basic disorder in our body every day because of the little bit injury, because of the insect bite or whatever the conditions, and because of the bacterial infection in the pustules and other forms. So we are having the inflammatory condition because every pathology start with the inflammation. So in the clinical condition, the inflammation, that is the pre-suppurating, suppurating or chronic suppuration. Now surprisingly, now start with the Matremedica. Now see, belladonna, epismale, ferrum phos, aconite, antihistaminic reaction. We all know that inflammation is caused initially because of the histaminic reaction along with the prostaglandin reaction. So now if we will see, we will find that These belladonna, epismale, pharynphos, and aconite, these are the drugs which are used in pre-suppurating condition. Pre-suppurating condition means before the pus formation. And once the pus is formed, these medicines are useless. So how? Because suppuration is another condition. And before that, there is the role of histamine, prostaglandin, where there is the vasodilatation, congestion of blood, exudation of serum plasma or serum or plasma that causes the swelling, painful condition, redness, and all these inflammatory signs. That is the pre-suppurating condition. And the belladonna, epismale, pharynphos, aconite, all having these symptoms. We can say according to the intensity. And one more thing I told you, that homeopathic philosophy for the selection of drug cannot be avoided. Therefore, we have to differentiate. But if we see that pre-suppurating condition is found in the inflammatory condition, so immediately such type of group will come in our mind, that that is the inflammatory condition of pre-suppurating condition, means these 3 or 4 drugs we should consider, and according to the symptomatology we should differentiate. So that is the very quick reaction or for the finding the medicines, means belladonna having, epismale having the same condition, pharynphos having, and aconite having. Means these are the antihistaminic reaction. All these drugs having the antihistaminic reaction. And you will surprise that because these are the antihistaminic drug, therefore these drugs blindly can be used for any type of histaminic reaction like the urticaria, where the anaphylactic reaction, these are the drugs also used with the anaphylactic reaction, because belladonna quick reaction, epismale quick reaction, pharynphos quick reaction, aconite Strom like reaction, which is a classical feature of histamine reaction, means allergens, means anaphylactic reaction. So these are the drugs which are used for antihistaminic as a antihistaminic reaction. And these antihistaminic reaction is used everywhere where we see that histaminic reaction is causing the disorder. These drugs may be used, or in the first time we may use these drugs without any doubt of their results. Number one thing. Second thing, you will see suppurating inflammation with the cardinal sign. Means we are having a journey of inflammation. Means initially there is no pus formation, then there is the pus formation, then there is the later stage, means there is the one condition where you have the pain. And we will discuss the next slide, that Hipersulf, arsenic, silicea. These are 3 drugs which are having the intense pain in the pus formation. Intense pain. But if you will see, the pus formation in these 3 drugs is different one. Means Hipersulf having the thick pus, whereas the arsenic and silicea having the watery oozing. So how these different? That is a different pathological condition. But we are having the pain, we are having the sensitivity, we are having the swelling, we are having the redness, means we are having the all inflammatory sign in all these 3 drugs. And some other drug may be there, but we have given the example of these 3 drugs having the pus, but the quality of the pus is different. Now Hipersulf having the thick pus, arsenic thin pus, and silicea again the thin pus, but these are having the pain, these are having the swelling, and these are having the redness. Now if you will see the chronic suppurating inflammation with the partial or no cardinal sign, that is the interesting condition. Means Pulsatilla, Calcarea sulf, and Merck. Pulsatilla having a pain, but not so much as in case of Hipersulf. Calcarea sulf having the pain, but not so much as Pulsatilla, and Merck having no pain in the suppurating condition. So how it is possible? In Mater Medica, generally we say that Merck is a syphilitic drug. Syphilitic means what? Syphilitic means what? Means our body having the 3 type of nature. One type of nature of working, means activity, that is a aphoric nature. One type of nature which is not essential or harmful to destroy that, that is a syphilitic nature. Third thing, to repair that destruction with the construction of new things, that is the psychotic nature. Merksol having the more destruction, it does not mean that everywhere should be the syphilis disease. Means syphilitic nature and syphilis disease, these are the two different conditions. But the Pulsatilla, Calcarea sulf, and Merksol gradually having the less symptoms of inflammation, but suppuration is there. So we can see that Pulsatilla having the thick pus, Calcarea sulf having the more thick pus, and Merksol having the pus without pain or cardinal sign, any cardinal sign. Means you see that we are having the inflammation, pre-suppurating, suppurating, and chronic suppurating condition. Means according to the stages, our Matremedica having the drug. According to the stage, in the first stage, belladonna, apismale, ferrum-phos, aconite. Second stage, hypersulf, arsenic, silicea. And in the third stage, when there is the no recovery, definitely means the destruction is more and construction is less, therefore there is no recovery, means the condition is chronic one. And chronic one having no cardinal sign, having no pain, therefore we can say that for the chronic suppurating condition, Merksol is the drug. Now one more condition, hemorrhagic condition. Now that is another condition in case of clinical practice. Now if there is the hemorrhagic condition, so how this Matremedica is applicable? If we see that whenever there is the hemorrhage, our body reacts in three ways. Number one, it causes the instant vasoconstriction. To reduce the hemorrhage, there is the immediately platelet plug formation to stop the bleeding, and there is the clotting, blood clotting, and there is the complete stoppage of the bleeding. Now these three conditions, three mechanisms which stop the blood. Now, if we will see in our homeopathic Matremedica, we are having the very common medicines which are used for the hemorrhage. That is arnica, not only anti-hemorrhagic drug, but it also absorbs the blood. And hemamelis, naturally it causes the vasoconstriction. Calcarea carb, we have discussed that because of the calcium deficiency, it is having the hemorrhagic diathesis, means it used to enhance the blood clotting. And phosphorus again enhance the blood clotting. And China, it again a good anti-hemorrhagic drug. Means in our Matremedica also we can divide our homeopathic drug in three ways. Certain drugs are vasoconstriction, certain drug having the condition of blood clotting, certain drug having the platelet plug formation. So similarly, for the hemorrhagic condition, we can find out these drugs. If we will see that how these conditions are correlated, no doubt clinical conditions are those which are reflected in Matremedica. But in case of Matremedica, clinical condition, how these are reflected, you see again the modality of certain drug. That bryonia, we are having the modality of bryonia that is most commonly aggravated by the motion. So how this modern concept, you see, we tell the student that bryonia having the red line symptom, that is the dryness. Means dryness everywhere. Second thing, it is having the seat of action of serous membrane, serofibrinous membrane. So what? Bryonia if having the dryness. So how the dryness is comes? Means dryness is caused because of the water imbalance. Again, in our body, water is distributed in three chambers: intravascular, extravascular. Extravascular divided into two: intracellular or intercellular, means interstitial or intracellular. So if there is the dryness, it means the fluid is moving from interstitial fluid towards the either to the cell or to the blood vessels. And if there is the movement of the fluid or water from interstitium to the intravascular or intracellular, it means somewhere there is the defect in the maintenance, or somewhere the factors which are the primary factor for this homeostasis, that is the osmolality, permeability of the vessels, and hydrostatic pressure. These are the three factors. Means bryonia having the movement of water from the interstitium to the inside to the other chambers. Means if that condition is continuous, there is the continuous dryness. Means once the continuous dryness is if the eyes, means movement of the eye will cause the pain or aggravation. If there is the dryness in the throat, deglutition or any movement in the throat will cause the aggravation condition. If there is the dryness in the synovial membrane, means the movement of the joint will cause the trouble. If there is the dryness of pleura, the movement of the lungs will cause the pain. Similarly, where is the dryness? And dryness of the mucous membrane continuously, dryness of the sigmoid colon causes the constipation in the bryonia. Means dryness, entire dryness causing the disorder. Means once the dryness is there, it means somewhere the water is moving towards the blood vessels. It means the blood vessels having not sufficient pressure which will retain the water outside the blood vessels. It means the pressure is defective. So the bryonia again is a very common drug for ischemia. Ischemia means improper supply to the cardiac system. And surprisingly, you will see in this way, if you are a distribution of the water, if you are seeing the bryonia is justified as a ischemic drug, and you are having the pricking pain, if you will see other drugs just like the Kalicap, Calmia, Digitalis, all these drugs having the pricking pain which are used for the ischemia, means the pricking pain is not the classical feature of bryonia also. It is a classical feature of ischemia. Ischemia causes the pricking pain. Therefore, we can say that pricking pain is not the symptom of bryonia. Pricking pain is of ischemia. So bryonia is the leading drug for ischemic cardiac disorder. Rest drugs are Calmia, rest drugs are Cactus, rest drugs are Digitalis, and other drugs which are the drug used for the ischemia will have the pricking pain, not only the bryonia. So pricking pain is not the key feature of the bryonia, it is the key feature of ischemia. Similarly, bryonia having the bone. Now the bone is different condition. There is no dryness, but because of the improper synovial fluid, bryonia having the movement of arthritis aggravation. If you will see the modern science or the pathology condition or the orthology, you will find that typically a little bit movement of the joint is aggravated, pain of the joint is aggravated by motion in case of osteoarthritis, where there is the erosion of articulating cartilage that is aggravated by the motion. It means bryonia having a very quick reaction over the articulating cartilage, where there is the dryness, where there is the erosion, and that erosion is causing the pain. That pain is aggravated by a little bit movement. That is means the arthrology, if there is the arthritis of bryonia, most probably it is a osteoarthritis, because osteoarthritis having the movement aggravation in the pain. So that is the condition of bryonia. And modality of Rustox you will see. Similarly, if we will compare the bryonia and Rustox, we will find that rheumatology also having the in the Rustox and Rustox, but surprisingly Rustox having the relieved by slow motion. So why the slow motion, relieved by slow motion, and aggravation by rest? Means that is the condition of rheumatoid arthritis, where there is the deposition over the articulating cartilage in the resting condition, and that deposition is removed by the slow motion. Therefore, after a little bit motion, the pain of the Rustox is relieved. Now, if you will see the pulsatilla, aggravation in the pulsatilla. If the pain of the arthritis of the pulsatilla, if you will see, pulsatilla having the aggravation means, though the pulsatilla having the changeability, but in the joints, pulsatilla having the pain sometime in one joint, another time in other joint. Simultaneously, if you compare the Calmia having the same type of symptom of the pulsatilla, means aggravation by the shifting type of pain, that is aggravation by the motion. But shifting nature is not the feature of pulsatilla. Shifting nature is the feature of rheumatic arthritis, if you will see. Means these two drugs are of the rheumatic fever. Therefore, if you will go back to the pulsatilla, you will find that this pulsatilla having the rheumatic history, rheumatic condition in the heart. So the pulsatilla is not only used for the rheumatic arthritis, but also the rheumatic heart disease. Pulsatilla having the good action over the rheumatic endocarditis, rheumatic valvular disorder, rheumatic stenosis, and other conditions of rheumatic fever. Means these are the condition. And if you will see the pulsatilla go back, rheumatic fever is caused by the streptococcal infection. And this streptococcal infection means pulsatilla is a anti-streptococcal drug. Pulsatilla having the anti-streptococcal drug. So these pulsatilla and kalmia both having the rheumatic condition. Kalmia also having the same type of joint pain. Pulsatilla having the same type of joint pain. Pulsatilla having the effect over the rheumatic cardiac disorder. Pulsatilla having the effect over the streptococcal infection. Means pulsatilla involving the entire streptococcal infection, even the deep seated to the deeper organs. Similarly, kalmia having the effect, and kalmia is also used for that condition. So these are the modalities. Means we can say that if we are able to search out in such type of relationship, that whether it is the bryonia or it is the rustox or it is the pulsatilla or it is the kalmia, so if we are able to search out such type of disorders, such type of connectivity between the modern concept and that, means bryonia, we can say the bryonia is a ischemic drug. Bryonia, we can say bryonia because of the dryness. Means these are 3-4 symptoms which will explain entire bryonia. These are the 3-4 symptoms. Means in case of pulsatilla, how the pulsatilla is teenager drug, because in the teenage, Hahnemann says in the pulsatilla that is the drug where the menarche is attained, and when there is the imbalance of these hormones condition, once these are settled, the symptom of pulsatilla will disappear. Means symptom of pulsatilla is over. Means now the patient will need other drug. Means that is the condition where patient is yet not experience that changes in the body. Means in the teenage, we say that in the 13 to 19, that is the age where there is the attainment of menarche. Means some girls attain the menarche at the age of 13, some by delay, 17, 18 or 19 year of age. That depends on the body to body. Therefore, that type of disorder may be experienced by the patient, and that may be nicely treated with the pulsatilla. They will not create any disorder. And similarly, kalmia is a cardiac drug. And when the compare the kalmia as a cardiac drug, then we are having the 3 more drug. Number 1, we are having the arsenic, we are having the bryonia, we are having the digitalis. And how these 3 drugs I have selected to discuss, there was a reason. Means bryonia, basically, if you will see, bryonia having the ischemic drug where there is no muscular damage, only the pricking pain is being caused by the bryonia, but the muscles are surviving, the conducting system of the heart is surviving. And if we are not treating, if the patient is not being treated, because of the ischemia, because of the hypoxia, gradually patient will go into the myocardial infarction, and that myocardial infarction is followed by the damage of conducting system. So if you will see that in case of arsenic having the damage of the muscles, means if the bryonia is not properly in time is given, then if the patient is going into the myocardial infarction, then there is no role of the bryonia, patient will shift to the arsenic. And arsenic is up to that level only where the conducting system is not being involved. Once the conducting system is involved, then there will be the arrhythmia, there will be the jumping of beats, there will be the merging of beats, there will be the delay beat, there will be the missing of beats, means arrhythmic condition will be caused, and that arrhythmic condition is treated with the digitalis like drug which are having the missing of beats. Means why missing of beats? Because the conducting system of the cardiac system is damaged. Therefore, these are again, in case of ISD, we are again having the stage wise drug, and that stage wise treatment. Now, for that, if we have to use the digitalis, means we should know the condition of cardiac system, in which phase we are having the missing of beat. We should know in which phase we are having the delay of beats. Means if there is the myocardial infarction, there is no use of the bryonia, we have to shift to the drug like the lachesis or arsenic. We have to shift on that drug, just like the cactus grandiflorus. And if there is the damage of conducting system, then we have to shift on the drug, just like the calcarea ars, which is missing every third beat, or the digitalis, which is missing every second beat. Means there is the much gross changes in the myocardium. So these are the different conditions according to the modern concept. Now we will discuss few more drugs. If we will see aconite arsenic. Aconite means a sudden violent reaction, means antihistaminic reaction. Arsenic having the damage. Arsenic is a poison, so it causes the damage. Now, surprisingly, if you will see the arsenic, you will find arsenic do not have the cadaver-like smell in the running of nose in the allergic rhinitis. It do not have cadaver-like smell in eruptions. It do not have cadaver-like smell when the patient having the simple fever or malarial fever. But arsenic having the cadaver-like smell in case of typhoid or enteric fever. So simultaneously, we will compare the Baptisia tinctoria. Baptisia also having the very offensive odor in the patient in case of typhoid. Now, we can say that these are the these are the very rare symptom of arsenic baptisia, but we say it is not like that. That is the stage of typhoid, we can say. Means if we will see the duration of the typhoid, we are having the 3 stages. In the early stage, we are having the eruptions or remittent fever. Until that, there is no any tissue damage. And up to that phase, we are having the multiple drugs, just like the bryonia. We are having the gelsemium, we have the Rustox, we have the arnica. And if the patient is not treated like that, as the patient enters in the second phase or second week, there is the formation of eruptions, there is the damage of inside the body, tissue damage, that necrotic condition because of the Salmonella bacteria causes the offensiveness which is being absorbed. When there is the tissue damage, that the decomposed material is being absorbed for the elimination from the body, that causes the offensiveness. So arsenic and baptisia, both the drug having the offensiveness in case of typhoid. In the second phase, we can say that arsenic and baptisia are of the second stage of the typhoid drug. These are useless in case of first stage, we can say. And if you will see, the baptisia also having the delirium. So delirium is not we can say it is not a key feature. It is because of the high fever. If you will see in the practice of medicine, then practice of medicine says that if the patient having the hyperthermia or high fever, there is the delirium condition in every fever. Means in case of summer, in case of other condition, in case of typhoid oftenly having the high grade of fever or the hyperthermia. Therefore baptisia having the condition of delirium, है ना, जैसे अब जिसको हम बोलते हैं कि भूत दिख रहा है, तो दैट baptisia is condition of that level. Now again the belladonna having the so many conditions, means anti-inflammatory condition, effect over the blood vessels, dilatation of the blood vessel, congestive condition. Congestive condition means if you will compare belladonna and bryonia having the pricking pain, whereas the belladonna having the throbbing pain. Throbbing pain again because of the congestion, throbbing pain because of the hypertension, throbbing pain because of the inflammatory condition. In the inflammatory condition, there is the vasodilatation, there is the congestion of blood, there is the stasis of blood, there is the pooling of blood. So belladonna having these all the conditions where they causes the throbbing pain. So throbbing pain belongs to the congestion of blood, not because of the key feature, that is the inflammatory reaction or inflammatory sign. Similarly, the bryonia. Now compare the euphrasia and allium cepa. Very common symptom of euphrasia and allium cepa we have seen that euphrasia having the congestion of eyes. Euphrasia having the congestion of eyes, and that congestion of eyes oftenly having the running of nose. Whereas allium cepa having the running of nose and watering from the eyes. Why it is so? Because it is not the uncommon symptom of any drug. Means during the cold, watering from eye is not uncommon symptom, or during the conjunctivitis, running of nose again is not any uncommon symptom. That is the matter of anatomical understanding. That is the matter of anatomical understanding. Means the eyes and nose are connected with the nasolacrimal duct. And in case of eye, congestive condition of eyes, the nasolacrimal duct is open. So whatever the excessive secretion of tears are there, the tears come into the nose through the nasolacrimal duct, and there is the running of nose. That is not the mucus secretion from the nasal mucosa. Means in the euphrasia, the discharge of the eyes is coming out through the nose, communicated with the nasolacrimal duct. And in case of allium cepa, it gets reversed. Means when there is the congestion of nose, because of the congestion, there is the blockage of the nasolacrimal duct. So once the nasolacrimal duct is blocked, so whatever the tear secretion in the normal condition of eyes are there, they cannot drain into the nose. These tears cannot drain into the nose, so they are overflow from the eyes. Means that is very common anatomical symptom of euphrasia and allium cepa. But the condition of eye and nose have to consider before the selection of these two drugs. Now, if you will see the Hippersulf having the condition of suppuration, we come to the some more discussion. Hippersulf having the condition of suppuration, and everybody knows Hippersulf having the thick pus. So if you will go into the microbiology, you will find that our staphylococcal drug having the thick pus. Staphylococcal drug having the thick staphylococcal bacteria having the thick pus, and because of the staphylococcal bacteria, pus is restricted to the area. Means fibrous boundaries are there which restrict the pus to abscess formation, and that is the condition of Hippersulf. Means Hippersulf is an anti-staphylococcal drug. In comparison of that, streptococci having a very small amount of thin pus, but inflammation is very wide area. Means in that streptococcal condition, the bacteria damage the fibrous capsule around the pus formation, and that property is not found in case of staphylococci. Therefore, staphylococci having the limited area of pus formation and streptococci having the wide area of inflammation, means the protease enzyme is not found in case of staphylococci, which damage the protein material forming the capsule around the suppuration. Means Hippersulf is a anti-staphylococcal drug, not anti-streptococcal drug. Whereas we have seen in the previous slide that pulsatilla was used for streptococcal disorder, which was in case of cardiac rheumatic fever. Means pulsatilla having the streptococcal anti-streptococcal result. Pulsatilla also having the thick yellow pus. That means pulsatilla is also anti-staphylococcal drug. Pulsatilla also having the green pus. Green pus is means the color of the pus, green or blue, these pus, color of the pus is because of the hemolytic condition by the bacteria. So that green pus is secreted by the Pseudomonas bacteria. We can say the Pulsatilla also having the anti-Pseudomonas activity. Pulsatilla is very good drug for the tuberculosis. We can say the tubercle bacilli means Pulsatilla having the multiple bacterial reactions to treat them. Means Pulsatilla, we can say the Pulsatilla is a good broad spectrum antibiotic. Hipersulf is a good antibiotic. Arsenic is a good anti-streptococcal drug. Silicea is a good anti-streptococcal drug. So according to the bacteriology, according to the nature of the bacteria, we can find out these symptoms of the bacteria, and we may search out that in which drug these symptoms are present, means that particular drug is useful for that particular bacteria. In this way we can come closer to the drug, and we can avoid, we can filter the drug very easily. There is no any confusion in that filtration of the drug. Now if you will see the Nux vomica, you will find surprisingly Nux vomica a very good drug. And if you will see that peristaltic movement of the Nux vomica, or we can say the over irregularities in the lifestyle of the Nux vomica, having the over the reaction of, and in the high potency, surprisingly Pulsatilla stimulates the vagus nerve, and in the lower potency Pulsatilla Nux vomica suppress the functions of the vagus nerve. So whenever the vagus nerve functions are suppressed by the Nux vomica in lower dose, it increases the peristaltic movement, and whenever in the high potency the suppression of the vagus nerve, irritation of the vagus nerve causes the reduction in the peristaltic movement, causing the constipation. So is it seen in the practice? Most of the time practitioner says that, sir, we have given the Nux vomica in case of constipation in 200 or 1 m, but there was no result. But because there was the constipation requires the increased peristaltic movement, which is done by the lower potencies to suppression of vagus nerve. And suppression of vagus nerve, because Nux vomica having the dual effect of the vagus nerve. In the higher potency, it will stimulate the vagus nerve. In the lower potency, it will suppress the vagus nerve. And in case of Pulsatilla, we have discussed. Now the veratrum virid, if you will see the Boric matrimoetica, and a veratrum virid having the, in the introduction, there was the in veratrum virid, we have in the Boric matrimoetica that there is the condition of auricular fibrillation. Now the word is very typical. So if we unable to communicate or unable to find out this thing in case of modern subject, so we will not understand the fibrillation or understand the auricular fibrillation. Means we have to take the help of auricular fibrillation with from the modern concept. Means what is the auricular fibrillation? Without these concepts, we cannot use this drug. Similarly, we are having the veratrum virid in the introduction that it reduces the blood pressure. And if you will see in the Allium sativa, there is a statement by the Boric in the introductory part of this Allium sativa that it reduces the initiate the reduction of diastolic and systolic hypotension. It initiates, means हाइपरटेंशन को कम करने के लिए, to reduce the hypertension, the drug is nicely used. Means how these typically terms are used and how these typically terms, clinical terms, and to understand for the clinical terms, definitely we have to take the modern medicine help. Without that help, a very good example of Ginkom-mate, the Kent, in the Kent matrimoetica, Kent had referred this Ginkom-mate, and somewhere in the Ginkom-mate he has used that Ginkom is the drug for tabes dorsalis. The very, very nice statement by the Kent that Ginkom-mate is the drug for tabes dorsalis. Means in the single sentence, he has explained entire drug, Ginkom-mate. Tabes dorsalis is the tertiary syphilistic condition where there is the involvement of the nervous system, particularly the spinal cord. And this involvement of spinal cord, and particularly the posterior halls of the spinal cord, are degenerated in tabes dorsalis, which causes the different type of conditions of the extremities and different type of condition peripheral nerves, where there is the numbness, or there may be the choreatic gait, or there may be the improper coordination of the muscles because of the this degenerative condition of the spinal cord. Means that Jinkum mate is entirely explained, means the communication by the person, means the delay response, delay answering, repetition of the questions, all these things are covered by the Jinkum mate in case of tertiary syphilis, where if you will see the tertiary syphilis in the modern medicine, you will find entire picture of the Jinkum mate will come in front of you, and without any confusion you can identify that this is the patient of Jinkum mate, because in the tertiary syphilis, because of the improper coordination, because of the atrophy of the brain, because of the degenerative condition of the brain, all these things are created, means improper chain of the thoughts, improper understanding, improper coordination of the thoughts, all these things are found, improper coordination of the muscles are found. So these are the symptoms how these Jinkum mate is explained by the Kent. And somewhere in the Mater Medica we are having such type of tips, if you will see carefully the Mater Medica, such type of tips everywhere we will find. Means, for the example, in case of sepia, and sepia having the condition where the structure of the female is not for the vigorous work, because we are having the large pelvic girdle, we are having the more carrying angle of the arm. So these are the condition where the female having the typical structure, body structure.
Hello, Sarma sir. Yes. Yes. Continue, sir.
Ji sir.
You're not audible. Sir, you are not audible. Hello. Hello. Mehta sir. Hello, Dr. Sarma.
Sir, contact करो सर.
Hello.
Sarma sir.
Yes, you are audible, sir.
हाँ सर. हाँ सर. सर कितना टाइम और है सर?
हो गया, टाइम तो हो गया.
अच्छा. तो now in सर 2 मिनट है ना? हाँ. So now we will see that this is a wide subject, but we have a few examples now how this Mater Medica can be correlated with the modern concept or modern subjects. Means somewhere we are having the good advantage if we are having the correlation of this modern subject, just like the anatomy, physiology, or practice of medicine, surgery, and gynecology with the Mater Medica. So it will boost up, and it will help in the selection of medicine, and it will definitely increase the success rate in the practice. That is. And I'm very thankful for the Parul University to give me this opportunity for discussion or to share my views. It is my views. I do not compel anybody, and I do not say that everybody should be agree with me. There are always variations in the understanding and always variation in the perception. So that is the condition to some different type of practitioners having the different type of ideology, and I do not have any objection from others, and these are the views which I have perceived from the Mater Medica and other subject and correlation, and these are the few examples from my side. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Parul University. Give me a
Thank you very much, Sarma sir, for your magnificent present with the pathophysiological action of the different medicines and what we have already studied in both Mater Medica. So likewise, to satisfy our listener, you have presented a nice manner, and now I would like to request my dear colleague Dr. Hitarth Mehta sir, who is principal in Rajkot Homeopathy Medical College and member of Board of Study of Parul University, having a good experience in practice medicine as a HOD, as a principal, as a teacher. Now I would like to request my dear colleague Dr. Hitarth Mehta sir to give his concluding remark as well as to give vote of thanks to Sarma sir and other listeners. Thank you.
Thank you, Panda sir, for today we are having the wonderful speaker with us, Dr. Radnesh Sarma sir, and the topic itself is very informative for the practitioner as well as the student of the homeopathy. The topic itself has having the importance in terms of the homeopathic materia medica in light of modern concept. Sir started with the different approach of the how we will proceed in a modern medicine, how we will utilize the knowledge of the practice of medicine in contrast with the materia medica. And materia medica cannot be studied without the studied the modern subjects. It is very essential in order to practice homeopathy. So sir started with the practice strictly based on the philosophical background that has been laid by our master Hahnemann in Organon of Medicine. And we have to understand the symptom. Symptom is basically from the which category, whether it has been common symptom, means symptoms of the disease itself, which is or uncommon symptom which is peculiar to that particular medicine or not, which is common to disease or which is peculiar to that particular drugs or not. So we have to differentiate each and every symptom, and the knowledge of the posology, which is very essential, potency selection. Then sir started with the groups of the different group of the remedy. First started with the calcium group, that is utility of the modern concept. Whenever there is utility or in terms of the lack of calcium, that is lack of calcium in modern medicine, that is hypocalcemia, tetany. We have to replace replacement therapy on calcium, which is needed. In terms of the calcium, that is calcarea. Calcarea is having the hypercontractibility. Calcarea is having relaxation of the muscles. So we have to correlate the knowledge of the practice of medicine in terms of materia medica. Then sir started with the hemorrhagic disorders, susceptibility to cold, extra growth of bones, stones, then flabbiness of the calcium. Similarly to the potassium, magnesium, natrum, these are the hydrophilic natures, and natrum group, that is the compound of the sodium, that is sodium Na+. Whenever it has been imbalanced, water imbalance takes place. And similarly, whenever there is edema takes place, we have to differentiate whether it has been hepatic edema, that is in renal in origin, or whether that has been hepatic in origin, renal, hepatic, and cardiac in origin. So we have to differentiate whether it is cardiac causes in case of the edema, mental disorders that will reflect on because of the sodium imbalance, hemolytic condition, renal disorders. These are the example of the sodium imbalance. Similarly, in terms of materia medica, sir started with the inflammation. That is first stage, that is belladonna, apis, ferrum, and aconite. Pre-suppurative condition, according to the symptom similarity, we have to differentiate the remedy. And we can prescribe in antihistaminic reaction like urticaria. So these are the remedy for antihistaminic reaction. In the next one, suppurative inflammation, that is the cardinal symptom, second stage of the inflammation, hepar sulf, arsenical, silica, that is silicia. Third stage of inflammation, that is chronic suppurative inflammation with partial or no cardinal signs, that is pulsatilla, calcarea sulf, and merksol, and nicely correlated with the antisyphilitic nature of the mercurius. Hemorrhagic condition, that is hemostatic factors, that is vasoconstriction, platelet, plug formation, blood clotting. The drugs which has been mentioned by the sir, that is arnica, amymbalis, calcarea, because of the calcium deficiency, phosphorus, china. So certain modality which is very essential in order to practice homeopathy: bryonia, aggravation by motion, dryness of mucous membrane, and seat of the action on serous membrane. So similarly, Rustock's, aggravation by rest, better by continued motion. Pulsatilla, that is erratic and shifting pain, but we have to differentiate it similarly, Kalmia latifolia, in terms of the rheumatic fever. So pulsatilla is having the wonderful drug for the rheumatic heart disease. Rheumatic fever, which is caused by the beta hemolytica streptococcal. So we can think of pulsatilla in case of the menarche, baptisia, offensiveness, delirium, hyperpyrexia. It is a stage of the fever in which delirium presenting in case of the baptisia. Belladonna, anti-inflammatory, congestive stage, throbbing pain, congestion. These are the symptoms of the hypertension. Allium cepa, euphrasia, that is nasolacrimal duct, which is responsible, that is connection between nose and eyes, which is responsible for the acrid nasal discharge, blend lacrimation in case of allium, acrid lacrimation, blend coryza in case of euphrasia. So nicely correlation, nicely example with the veratrum viridi, auricular fibrillation. It reduces the blood pressure. Boric coat, then Kent, zincum metallicum, tabes dorsalis, spinal affection. So, sir, nicely correlation of the materia medica with the concept of the practice of medicine and pathology, and nicely explanation with the pathogenesis of the different drugs. Thank you very much, sir, for your wonderful knowledge. And now I will proceed with the vote of thanks. On behalf of Faculty of Homeopathy, Parul University, I take this opportunity to propose the vote of thanks, those who have directly and indirectly contributed to this webinar. At the outset, I am thankful for the learned and eminent speaker and resource person of the today's webinar, respected Dr. Rajneesh Sharma sir, for sparing his valuable time and knowledge with us. Thank you very much, sir. We are really enlightened with your knowledge and presence. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
We are thankful to Honorable President of Parul University, respected Dr. Devanshu Patel, sir, respected Dr. Komal Patel, Madam, Director of Ayush College of Parul Universities, for motivating and inspiring us to design new method of teaching and learning for the students and faculty member at the amidst the COVID-19 crisis. A special thanks to the organizing committee, Dr. Purav Desai, sir, Dean of Faculty of Homeopathy and Principal of Jawaharlal Nehru Homeopathic Medical College, Dr. Ina Rawal, Madam, Principal of Ahmedabad Homeopathic Medical College, Dr. B.P. Panda, sir, Principal of Parul Institute of Homeopathy and Research. Special thanks to the technical committee, Brijesh sir and Jiten sir, for their unflinching support. For the technical support, our heartfelt thanks to the delegates for their active participation. With this warm words and kind message, we move to the end of this webinar. Stay connected. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Sarma ji, thank you very much on behalf of our faculty. Let us meet again and hope the same cooperation in future.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
Okay, namaskar.
Thank
sir.
you.
Namaskar, sir.